Okay, great. Thank you. As we are focusing on history of rise of commercial space, I just wanted to kind of start with the brief history of STMD, NASA's Space Technology Mission Directorate, and kind of talk about how it ties with our overall approach to commercializing space. I have been lucky enough to have been with this organization since its inception. Next up, please. The Office of Chief Technologist actually came into being in fiscal year 2011. But prior to that, a lot of the content that came into OCT, it existed in Doug Comstock's Innovative Partnership Program, IPP, until 2010. For example, we have the SPAR, STTR, Tech Transfer, Centennial Challenges, Fast Cruiser, which I will be talking about a little bit later. All of them were in IPP, and of course, they moved into OCT when it got created in 2011. And eventually, of course, OCT was split into two separate organizations, OCT being in charge of providing an advisory role, and STMD, the Space Technology Mission Directorate, focusing on the programmatic role for the agency. Next up, please. But if you want to understand what drove the overall focus of STMD, initially OCT, then STMD, is like you need to look back at some of the groundwork that was done by Lori Leshin and Mike Ruskevich. Those two of them actually came up with this innovation and technology initiative in 2009 timeframe. And they're focusing on, okay, what NASA's technology organizations come and go. And unfortunately, a lot of times the funding set aside for technology gets taken up by missions and leaving not much for technology development. That's the reason why behind this innovation initiative toward having a technology organization. Anyway, in 2009, of course, these are some of the goals established, or at least formulated by Lori and Mike. And as you can see in this one, stimulating a vibrant commercial space sector was one of the tenets of the initial organization. Okay, and if you go to the next chart, that's a chart that Bobby. If you go to the next one, please. Yeah, Bobby Brown, as you all know, he was the first chief technologist when it got established. But this is prior to OCT coming into being. Basically, he was briefing various stakeholders. And of course, there are a lot of different things he was talking about. But what I want to focus on here is expanded commercial sector engagement. He was thinking in terms of, obviously, NASA was, NACA was extremely successful in taking care of the aviation industry. Okay, basically fostering and actually creating aviation industry. Well, we need to be doing something very similar to NACA when OCT got established. Okay, next page, please. Okay, the thought was, within the same organization, that we need to have a number of programs essentially focusing on taking ideas and concepts on the left-hand side at very low TRL, develop them through some of the game-changing programs in the middle, and eventually take some of those cross-cutting technologies into flight demonstration. Once they are flight demonstrated, like at least a minimum TRL3, TRL6, I should say, they could be used in future missions. Okay, that was really how we had set up OCT at the time. There were actually 10 programs, and eventually they got formulated to have 9 programs. Next page, please. Okay. Another way of looking at OCT at the time was like you can have transformative technology development programs such as the TDM, small spacecraft technology. Again, that was breaking as well, because we could achieve a lot with small spacecraft technology, as like a CubeSat versus having to spend a lot of resources toward developing and actually launching them. And of course, game changing development was really the mid-TRL program, which was again involved in a lot of technology development. But of course, it's not just higher TRL program. We also want to make sure that the concepts could be coming from a lot of places. They could be coming from, like for the NIAC, for example, concept came from even garage inventors. And of course, the space technology research grants focused on academia. And the Center Innovation Fund focused on actually bringing in technology ideas from NASA centers, basically NASA researchers. Okay. Well, the third primary goal of the space technology program was creating markets and growing innovation economy. And of course, Jen talked about the SBI RSTTR, and of course, in fact, she used to manage the program for some time. Then, of course, Amy had talked about Centennial Challenges again. She is in charge of it now. Okay. And the Flight Opportunities Program, I would like to kind of briefly focus on that for a few minutes only because I happen to run that program from its inception for about 5 years or so. Next up, please. Okay. Yeah, Flight Opportunities, actually, it was authorized by Congress, surprisingly, under Section 907 in NASA Authorization Act of 2010. If you recall, in the original IPP, there were two activities like FAST and Cruiser. Well, here they are. The FAST was facilitated access to the space environment for technology, basically trying to create reduced gravity environment in using parabolic flights on aircraft. And of course, commercial reusable suborbital research cruiser was the one that was still like an emerging field. Those two were combined into Flight Opportunities. And of course, the program goals were threefold. Essentially, one was to mature technologies using these commercially available flight platforms. Okay, that the key there is commercially available flight platforms. Of course, that also meant by using this commercial company that we can actually foster this emerging suborbital industry. Okay. What I would like, I know we talked about a lot about what is commercial. I think the way I defined commercial in my program at the time was, okay, that we want to be one of many customers. We didn't want to be the only customer. Okay, so that's how we looked at it. For, I think, as I said, there are a lot of emerging companies, and then the best way we thought to go about bringing them on board is, okay, whether they have flying vehicles or not. If they are working on it, we thought maybe we should make an effort to bring them on board. Okay, that's exactly what we did. We actually put out an IDIQ solicitation, and then we brought in 7 companies through that IDIQ contract mechanism. And we basically said, the only thing you needed to prove to us in your proposal is, okay, you'll have an ability to provide us a flight within the 2-year period of performance. Okay, you can see that period of performance being like 2011 to 2013. Next page, please. Looks like some of the pictures are missing here. I'm sorry, but something must have happened here. But anyway, I would probably describe to them. Unfortunately, it's like okay. Anyway, let me describe. You see 8 of them listed here. Okay, at the bottom of the page, you have the 0G aircraft. I just kind of included it for completeness sake because they were already on contract to NASA Johnson when we started the program. For the 7 companies we brought in, included some of the companies that were actually providing already flights, like Up Aerospace on the left-hand side. You just have to imagine that they are there. And of course, on the right-hand side, you have Near Space Corporation. They are providing balloon flights because they have been in business for quite some time. I think I would like to kind of focus on Masten Space System. Basically, Masten was the winner of the Lunar Lander Challenge. Basically, it was the original Centennial Challenges that they won in 2009, and then they made it into a competition. We also had Armadillo. Again, they were the runner-up in this Lunar Lander Challenge, and then they also made it into our program. It was Virgin Galactic, but they had flown Spaceship One, but they were still working on the Spaceship Two, and X-Core, and then of course you have Winning Hill Space, and I think they're all kind of working on their vehicles, and they're still basically they were hoping to provide us flight by 2013. At least that's how we went in. Okay, next page, please. Okay. By the time we got to 2013 and 2014, like we had companies who were operational in the beginning. They were still providing us flights. The companies who were emerging, they were still emerging, meaning like they were still struggling to provide us flights. And of course, the struggle was with respect to having funds and also having capabilities. Okay. Then you're looking at, all right, how can we help? We NASA help. Well, we consider a couple of options. So the first option was, of course, to look at offering funds to develop commercial capabilities along the lines of the CARDS model that was very successfully used by NASA. But then there was very little appetite within NASA because of pushback from Congress. That's why we cannot pursue that a lot. Instead, we decided, okay, maybe instead of providing funds, we could provide in-kind resources. Okay, that way the resources will be offered by centers. Of course, we will fund the centers, but the centers will actually help the companies. Okay, that was the model we came up with. And then, of course, STMD leadership, and they looked at what we're trying to do, and they say, hey, why don't we expand it to the 3 other higher tier programs? And next page. And that's how we came up with the next announcement of collaboration opportunity, ACO, which it's called. The minimum entry requirement we put on it was TRL 3. Basically, you just needed to focus on developing commercial capabilities. That's really the only requirement we had. The commercial capability should be used by the company as well as could be usable by NASA in the future. Okay, this was all done through unfunded Space Act agreement, and essentially it offered about $1 million worth of in-kind resources which could be used over a 1 to 2 year period. Okay, this has been extremely successful. And if you go to the next page, please. Yes. As you can see, in the early days of ACO in 2016, if you look at some of the topics, like we focused on the suborbital field. And then, of course, we also had, I know many of the suborbital companies, they're also working on orbital, for launching small payloads into orbit. Before, we kind of looked at that also as an opportunity to fund or actually provide in-kind resources to develop them. Okay, next page, please. Yeah, eventually, as we moved on from year to year, essentially we kind of moved into the topics of interest to STMD. Basically, these are the thrust areas, what we call as strategic thrust areas, that where we need technologies to be developed and also demonstrated for future missions. Okay, next page, please. Yeah, this is the latest one. We actually made selections last November, I believe. And as you can see, this has been, the companies who have participated in the ACO has been not only small companies, but also like pretty much all the big aerospace companies. Everyone is interested in it. In one, I would like to focus here is on the right-hand side, advanced materials and structures. We have Space Factory Inc., which is basically Centennial Challenges 3D printed habitat winner for essentially companies kind of come in through like SBIR and the Centennial Challenges, and then they kind of make inroads into our other programs. And that's really how we would like to see. Okay. Next page, please. Okay. All right. It's one thing to just provide in-kind resources, but I think when the companies are getting ready to actually tip their technologies for commercializing their product, right? Basically, that's really what we were saying. Actually, the companies were saying, hey, we need money to actually take our product to market. Okay. And we said, okay, we'll figure out a way to make it happen. And then we said, if our investment can result in something that not only you can use it, but also NASA could make use of it in the future, as long as that meets the goal, we will offer funds, but with a caveat. We said, you have to have skin in the game. That's the only way we can make this happen. For what we did is for small companies that, well, they need to bring in 10% of the project life cycle cost. And then for the larger company, we said they need to bring in minimum 25% as their contribution. Next page, please. As you can see, the initial topics were pretty broad. I think the first time we put out the solicitation, we actually went with in-space manufacturing. And you see Made in Space, Orbital, and Space System, they all got awards, significant awards. Then if you come down to 2018, we had a very broad topic like expanding utilization of space. Pretty much you can put anything there, but we want to keep it so broad that companies can actually propose to us anything they really would like to see commercialized. Okay. Next page, please. Okay. Yeah, then of course, as we move forward, we kind of focused on our technology thrust areas. And the next page, please. And then of course, the last one, this is the one that we awarded last year during the COVID period, actually. We did this one in November the awards in November 2020. These were mainly focused on flight demonstrations. That's because NASA's focus has been to do the lunar exploration. And we said, okay, in order to help lunar exploration, we said, okay, we need to actually ask the companies to see whether they can actually demonstrate the technologies like the CFM technology, which actually received significant award. And then also Lunar Surface Innovation Initiative, LSII technology demonstration, we had a number of awards. And last but not least, I just want to focus here, Mastron. Remember I talked about Mastron earlier, the Lunar Lander Challenge winner. Okay, here we have them basically focusing on providing a similar capability to NASA toward eventually doing the demonstration on the moon. For I think that's a nice way for a company like Mastron to kind of stay with STMD since 2009 through now and beyond. Okay. And as you can see, this was a significant award that STMD made, like $372 million worth of awards. And we hope to continue this one going forward, of course, budget billing. And next page, please. This is my summary slide. Yeah, the way we would like to summarize at least our approach is, okay, it's not one or the other. Like it's actually both exploration and commerce is what we're looking at. Of course, exploration being boots on the moon, and of course, lunar sustainability and Mars and beyond. That's really how we are looking at within STMD. And of course, investing in the growing economy is equally important to us. And that's how we will continue on our journey.